Hello, my name is Alan Garola, and this is my presentation on Bob Fosse. So Bob Fosse was born on June 23rd, 1927 in the city of Chicago. At an early age, he had a deep passion for theater and dance, and he was very talented at it. As a teenager, he performed as one of the Riff Brothers in vaudevilles, burlesques, and at movie houses. After high school, he enlisted in the Navy and was assigned to entertainment units in the Pacific. And then that's where he practiced being a performer, choreographer, and director. So in the 40s and 50s, he danced in musicals such as Make Mine Manhattan and Kiss Me Kate. He also started off as an actor/dancer, and he made his acting debut in The Affairs of Dobie Gillis in 1953. And then after the decline of movie musicals, he returns to Broadway, and that's where he was hired for his first choreography debut, The Pajama Game. And this was a very pivotal moment in his career. So that was very successful. So he continued to do more choreographies. He did Damn Yankees the following year, which was another success, important piece for Fosse. He also did Bells Are Ringing, New Girl in Town, Sweet Charity in 1966, which was years later adapted to a film. And he also did Chicago in 1975, which was also many years later, adapted to film. And he has choreographed over 15 musicals throughout his career. And here's a clip from the film My Sister Aline. This was choreographed by Fosse, and he actually plays one of the characters. And here you start to see the early developments of his style. See the hats, very energetic movement. This is very early Fosse. So as you can see, his style is very much a jazz dance style. And it's energetic, it's sensual, it's stylistic. It's also been described as sexy, to have fluidity and simplicity. There's a lot of hip movements. There's turn-in knees, a lot of finger snaps, and he's also credited for creating the jazz hands. And he has a thing for hats. So in many of his dances and his choreographies, he uses hats and gloves too. So here we go. We have different screenshots from different. These are actually musical films. On the top left, we have Damn Yankees, this is where he actually met Gwen Verdon, who later became his wife. And that was him. He quoted him. This was quoted him. Fosse was quoted as saying that was him fooling around. So again, his early stages. On the top right, this is from his film Cabaret, which he directed and choreographed. On the bottom left is from another film, All That Jazz, which actually won the Palme d'Or in the Cannes Film Festival. And this is a very interesting film because it's directed by Fosse, choreographed, and it's autobiographical. So it very much tells the story of a choreographer who is going through, he's sort of at the end of his career, and he's struggling with the meaning of life and death. And it's also like relationships. It's very autobiographical, and it's a very great film. And then right next to it, we have it. This is from his film directorial debut, Sweet Cherry. And here's a little clip from it. So Fosse directed and choreographed the Broadway play in 1966 for Broadway, obviously. And then following the success of the Broadway debut, he choreographed and was set to make it into a film. So yeah, I personally, that's my favorite piece of his. It's just amazing. Okay, and now for the awards, which he got a lot. His first ever award was a Tony Award for choreography in The Pajama Game, which was kind of a no-brainer. That's the pivotal moment. That was in 1955, and the following year he got his second Tony for choreography of Damn Yankees, and then in 1973 he won 2 Tonys for directing and choreographing Pipping, which is another Broadway play of his. The same year he won his first Oscar for directing Cabaret, and fun fact, he actually beat Francis Ford Coppola, the same category, for The Godfather, which is considered one of the greatest films of all time. And Francis Ford Coppola is considered as one of the greatest directors of all time. So that says a lot about Fosse coming in with his second film and beating, I couldn't believe it, Francis Ford Coppola. I didn't know that, actually. And then also in the same year, he won his first Emmy for directing Lisa with the Z, which was like a TV musical. And this made him the first ever person in history to win the trifecta the same year. A Tony, an Oscar, and an Emmy. And then tragedy struck. Just like many geniuses, Fosse suffered from mental illness. And this was a combination of alcoholism, infidelity, the fame and the pressure of Broadway, and just choreographing. So after his trifecta win, he checked himself into a psychiatric clinic. And he was quoted as saying, "I dream that somebody is going to knock on the door one day and announce, 'We're taking all those awards back. You didn't really deserve it.'" And then he died actually of a heart attack in 1987. And he was actually on his way with Gwen Verdon to the opening of Sweet Charity, the film. So yeah. And the Fosse footprint, as I like to say, he's one of the greatest choreographers / directors to have ever stepped on Broadway. He is so influential. He revolutionized dance, and he understood musical theater, unlike no one other. And I think the reason why I chose Fosse was I saw Cabaret, and I didn't know it was Fosse. And then I was familiar with All That Jazz. And then that's the film that really sort of opened me to the understanding Fosse and just who he is, how influential he is, and just how sort of, I guess, I also relate to him in the sense of how we love dance. We have a love for dance, and how dancing, I think how dancing is like a way how you live in the present, and it's something you do in the now, which is a very unique feeling. I think that's why we both love dancing so much. So yeah. And now this is actually a clip from a 1969 episode of the Ed Sullivan Show, and it's featuring his ex-wife Gwen Verdon, and obviously Beyonce had some inspiration from it. And yeah, that was called Mexican Breakfast, and obviously choreographed by Fosse. And then also just a quick sort of background on Fosse and his wife. So they met while working on Damn Yankees, and that's where they got together. They got married a few years later, and they continued to work alongside each other with Fosse choreographing, and then Gwen Verdon as the actress. And they say behind every successful man, there's a strong woman. And she was definitely the strong woman in his life. But then their romance ended after the film version of Sweet Charity due to infidelity, drug abuse, and alcoholism. But interestingly enough, he quoted in an interview, he was quoted as saying, even after the divorce, he still considered her as her best friend. And that just goes to show how the type of man he is. He's had a strong work ethic, relentless drive for perfection. And he also was quoted, in the same interview, he's quoted as saying is that doing Broadway shows is tougher than movies. And in the film All That Jazz, there are strong themes of death, because he had with his open heart surgery, he had such a close experience to death. He was quoted as saying, "For all my talk about death, I really would love to live a little bit longer." And I think that's again why I chose him, because we have such a very particular view on life. Oh, hold on. And yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you.